Okay, welcome along. This isn't a lore video as such, although you can say everything's a lore video because it's all to do with this big story that they're telling. But I'm going to do a couple of videos about some of the new activities that have come in since update 15. So the first one, this one, is going to be about the new reactivation missions, and then I'll probably go on to do one about what happens when you go into the Maelstrom. I'm sure a lot of you have seen videos and stuff all over the internet already about what's in the Maelstrom. I'll be taking my own little trip in there at some point. But today I'm going to be looking at these reactivation missions. Before we do that, let's just have a quick look at how the galaxy map has changed. So the frontline systems that I've spoken about many times now were distinguished from normal Thargoid controlled systems by having conflict zones and signal sources in them. And they were representing the direction of the Thargoid expansion, and so by knocking the frontline systems on the head, we would presumably be halting the expansion and then reversing it. That's had a bit of a rework now, and the frontline systems are now being called counter-strike systems and have their own purple symbol here. The counter-strike system, this system has been targeted for counter-strikes against the Thargoid invasion frontline. So these are what we can think of as the old frontline systems. Every single one of them has a port that can be reclaimed, or at least every single one that I've clicked on. As you can see, there's quite a lot of them, but I've clicked on several of these and I haven't found one yet without a port that's been abandoned. So all of them have a port that can be reclaimed. And that, you would think, would be where these reactivation missions came in. Now you get these reactivation missions from invasion systems and alert systems, but not every invasion or alert. Why that is, not completely sure yet. You can get them here in Laumas, where I am now. You can get them here in Aslasay. But there are other invasion and alert systems around this Maelstrom which don't have any. Not quite sure what the logic behind that is. Still looking at it all, it's all very new. But I have a reactivation mission here to a controlled system that isn't a frontline system, but does have an abandoned port. And if we look at the system map for it, as well as, well, actually 3 abandoned ports there, plus any ground ones, it also has a lot of settlements that are going to be recovered, and that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to one of these settlements. I'm going to go to this one here, Bevis Military Port. Okay, so looking at the mission board, you don't have to disembark to pick these up, these reactivation missions. You get them here in operations, and there they all are. In this system, check the distance. Make sure you're around the first star and not the second, because it will take you absolutely forever to travel that kind of distance, plus you will be relentlessly interdicted on the way. Just one job will take forever. So I'm avoiding those and only taking the ones around the primary star. All of the rewards are Odyssey materials. There you go, operational manual, production schedule, ionized gas. You can pick up suit schematics, weapon schematics, power regulators, manufacturing instructions very occasionally, or sometimes just the money. So you have to restore power to the settlement, and then after that you'll be given something else to do, fetching something from a locker or downloading some piece of data. You'll see when we get there. Now the ship to use is down to you. I found that the Dolphin works very well for me, so let's just quickly walk through that build. No weapons because I'm going in full on stealth. Although it says here that I'm over power, I've got the cargo bay switched off, so I'm actually within power. I've got a caustic sink launcher which I've not had to use yet. I've not been hit with caustic missiles yet. I have been hit with a shutdown field, so the neutralizer has been useful, and the heat sink is there just in case I need it. If I go into the core internals, I didn't bother with the armour. Why not? Well, because when you put the armour on, if I was to put military grade composite on this Dolphin, it would take 10 light years off the range for only a few hundred points in armour. You're actually better off leaving the armour alone. And if you want to have lots of armour, just pack your ship full of hull reinforcement packages. The power plant, I found it helped because then that gave me the options of running shields if I wanted to, or anything else that I wanted to, without having to worry too much about the power. So that's armoured and monstered. The thrusters, dirty and drag drives for maximum speed. I had a pre-engineered frameshift drive from the community goal, but it doesn't matter. You're not jumping to a system very far away. As long as you've got like a 20-25 light year range, you can probably get to the target system in one jump. Life support, well, hopefully it'll never come to that, but yeah, I didn't bother with anything but a basic D. The power distributor, you want the permanently boosting capability to go with your top speed. Just like a rescue ship, speed and perma boost are interdependent. Engineer them as a piece. Think of them as one unit. Engineer them together. The sensors, again, are not important. We're going to be landing at a base and then we're going to be going in on foot. If we go to the optional internals, somebody told me that if you've got thermal resistance on your shield, it actually helps with a Revenant fire, which is quite unusual because Thargoids don't usually, their damage ignores any kind of resistance, thermal resistance or whatever. Yeah, thermal resistance will protect you against NPC lasers and stop them taking your shields down so quickly, but Thargoids, it won't make a blind bit of difference. They do absolute damage. Except apparently, I've yet to actually verify this, but I'm trying it and seeing how it goes. Apparently the Revenants do thermal damage, and so if you've got some thermal resistance on a shield, it does help. Well, this is a prismatic with thermal resistant shields and fast charge. And then I've put a couple of Guardian shield reinforcement packages in just to give it a bit of a pep up. And then I've also got 2 fully engineered hull reinforcement packages for when the shield goes down, heavy duty and deep plating, and that gives me about 1,500 armour for when the shields go down. Another little hull reinforcement package there. I put Super Cruise Assist and a docking computer in. You don't really need to if you don't want to, I guess. Planetary vehicle hangar, I found trying to take a Scarab or a Scorpion in, it would just get spotted, but some people have had success with it. I'm going for a full-on stealthy approach. I'm not going to be attacking the Revenants. Okay? So, with that said, hopefully I've got the right combination of speed, tankiness, and the ability to get in and get out fast. So let's go put it to the test. I didn't get hyperdicted coming into the system, but because I'm going from an invasion system to a controlled system and back, there is a chance of being hyperdicted both ways. Be aware of that. Also, in the controlled systems, of course, interdictions are going to be common. I would say they're no worse than invasion systems though. So if you can cope with invasion systems interdictions, then you can cope with controlled system interdictions. And the principle for getting away from them is still the same. I rely on speed, so submit to the interdiction straight away and then just boost and keep boosting. Drop a heat sink if you need to until you can go back into Super Cruise again. Escape mass lock. So we're coming down onto this base for one of these reactivation missions, night vision because it's dark. You can see the terrain around here is really rough as well. Again, this is why you want a small ship, the ability to land everywhere. You do not want to be messing around trying to land any longer than you need to be. And we don't want to get too close. power center is going to be over in this corner. So let's approach from this side. So far, because I'm keeping about over 1.5 kilometers away, I'm able to fly around for a little bit and just pick my landing spot. So now I'm going to engage landing gear, and I'm also going to put 4 pips to systems.
Landing gear deployed.
Because the ship will get shot at when I take off. Alright, I think that's pushing my luck. About 680 meters in. Find somewhere to land. Even with a small ship, it can be quite fiddly, as you can see. Right, but there we are. Alright. So now we're ready to disembark. Before I do, I'll just quickly look at the Maverick suit that I will be using. I'm not using weapons, so I haven't really bothered, but if you do want to take pot shots at these Revenants, then I've heard that the laser rifle, the Aphelion, I think it's called, that with stability and range and extra magazine will pot those things out of the sky, like skeet shooting. Increased sprint duration, really useful. Night vision is very useful because, as you can see, this base is in the dark, but you don't actually need it. You could actually walk around with the flashlight and they will not detect you unless you go in their green cones, which is like their searchlights. And that does sound a bit silly, I admit, running around with a flashlight and they can't see you unless you actually step into one of their green beams and then trigger them. But I guess that's so it's not to make it so hard that you have to get night vision or to make the most out of it. So if the base is dark, you can use your flashlight without worrying too much about it. If you've got night vision, it's great to have. It's not essential, but it is very useful. But this is, for me, vital. Increased sprint duration. So I'm going to disembark. And the moment you disembark, you want to dismiss your ship before you do anything else. Dismiss your ship. Now, watch it get shot at as it flies up into the sky. No, it got away. Haha, that's cool. Okay. Sometimes it'll get shot at going into the sky. That's why I had 4 pips to weapons, but I actually got away with it that time. But that's why you're making your ship tanky, because the Revenants will fire at it. It looks worse than it is, though. It all looks very dramatic with several of their beams hitting your ship at once, but they actually don't do masses and masses of damage. So if you've got a good shielding and plenty of hull on your ship, you'll survive it quite easily, and it will all look very dramatic and flashy, but you'll probably only lose about 5%. The Dolphin, again, perfect for the task. Possibly something like a Cobra or a DBX would do very well too, because they're small ships that you can make very tanky with decent shields, decent armor, or both. So here I am doing the gamepad bunny hop, running and then jumping every time I land to cover the ground as fast as possible. And again, this is where increased sprint duration is very handy. There you can see the Revenants. and they're green searchlight beams, and as long as you stay out of any of those beams, you're fine. We're looking for the power center. And there it is. Distinctive by the big round shape. And let's just back up a little bit because one of them's doing a sweep. Okay. It looks like a standalone power building, in which case there should be 2 doorways into it. That one is getting swept pretty regularly. And so use your logic and your common sense here. It's a stealth mission, so you're going to be observing the patrol routes, picking your moment. Now you can see that he's spending quite a significant time away from that door. Let's go. Cut our way in. And we're in. So we want to put the power regulator into the housing that we've been given for this mission. Go and turn the reactor on. And when the power regulator has been ensconced in its housing and the reactor turns on, you should get the message. There it is. Objective complete. That's the first part. You've done it. You've powered at the base. The second part of the mission will be to grab some item from a locker or some data from a data pad. In this case, they want the item from locker 2 in the warehouse building. But we don't have to go there straight away. We can take a bit of time to just go through the cupboards and the data ports, if any, see what they've got, pick up anything that takes your fancy. Sometimes there's a terminal here, but there isn't in this case. So that's the command center. And I think that is storage up there. So I'm going to make a run for it. Yep, there you are, storage. In we go.
Entering pressurized environment.
And again, although we want locker 2, nothing to stop you while you're in here, because while you're inside they can't attack you. Just take your time, rob the place, pick up all your materials, pick up data, pick up anything that you need for engineering or just for sale. I don't need too many things, I've got quite a few, but I could do with some more chemicals, so I'll have that viscoelastic polymer. Nothing there that I want. Ah, but this is the item that they want. Now you see it's got the mission symbol next to it, so it's these personal documents. That's what they want you to pick up. So let's have those. And that's it. You have now done everything that they want. So you can stay and get more things here, go through the data ports, go through all of the lockers, go to the other buildings. If you want, here we've got some cat media, digital designs, both useful for engineering. I don't need them, but if you do, go ahead. I might as well top up on batteries while I'm here.
Suit fully charged.
And now all I have to do is get away.
Pressurized environment.
you want to try to get to about 1 kilometre out, maybe a little bit over, and somewhere nice and flat that your ship can come and pick you up from. Otherwise it could park too far away, or up a hill, or several hundred meters from you. And while this seems a bit tedious perhaps, it's actually not taking me very long to do this. And there's a Thargoid up there, an interceptor up there. Okay, so we'll recall the ship and hope it comes down somewhere near us. It should do. It's quite flat round here. Where is it going? And you can see the Revenants shooting at the ship as it lands. Looks especially horrible when it hovers like that before doing the final descent, and you think, don't just hang around there being shot, land already. But it actually looks worse than it is. If you're halfway decent shield or pretty tanky, then I got a Thargoid firing at it as well. Great. But try not to panic. The shield is holding up, as you can see. Get on board and lift off. And with the Revenants and the Interceptor both firing at the ship, the shields have held up. I've only lost about 1% hull.
Frame shift drive charging.
And even packed full of hull reinforcements and a big shield, it's still boosting to 586 and able to boost every 4 seconds or so. And I'm away. Done. Can go and hand that mission in. Not a shot fired. So you could go in all guns blazing. You can't target them from ships, but you can hit them with like missiles and that kind of thing. On the ground, you can target the Revenants and take them on if you want to take them on. Some people are using rocket launchers on them. One hit, if you get it right, will kill them. Other people are using like the TK Aphelion laser rifle, which is also very good. Any rifle really seems to do quite well against them. But the Revenants will get endlessly replenished by scouts, which will come down and drop more of them and more of them and more of them. And so, yeah, you can sit there and you can kill Revenants for a long time if you want to. But they're going to get replenished, and I'm not quite sure what good that does. I mean, originally, FDev said when they presented this to the major streamers and the content providers, they said that, stealth would be the best option. But then this article came out in Galnet saying destroy as many of the Revenant drones as possible. So we've got mixed messages on that at the moment. But I'm going to leave Revenant killing to people who want to do that. For me, I'll get in and out, do these reactivation missions quickly, because the objective ultimately for me is to move the progress bar and clear the invasion or the alert. as well as hopefully have some effects on the controlled system where you're actually doing the missions, and start moving the progress bar in there as well. So it's the potential of these missions to affect two systems, not just the one you're working in, that makes them quite attractive. And the fact that you can do them stealthily without going in full on means that although you're running the gauntlet of the enemy, it is still largely a non-combative activity. And if you can just perfect a few little stealthy methods of getting in and out, you don't need to fight them at all to do these.
Landing gear deployed.
Landing completed. Deactivating docking systems. Welcome to the station, Commander.
So now I can pick the reward I want. I'll take the suit schematics. And I'll just take the money on that one. And there you have it. The Dolphin works for me as a ship. I really like it. Works well. But as I say, a Cobra, a DBX, something small, fast and tanky, and a Maverick suit. If you can put increased sprint duration into a Maverick suit, very, very useful. It's also one of the early upgrades that you do get. And unlike night vision, you don't have to go through about 3 different engineers to get hold of it either. So that's a quick, stealthy way of doing these reactivation missions. So if you want to do them but you don't want to fight the Revenants, I hope this has helped. There'll be a few more like this from me, looking at some of the other new content and tying it back into the lore, the overall story that they're telling. But for now, that's it till the next one. Hope this has been some use to you, and watch yourselves out in the black.